Hi everyone, I'm Carly and this is the last growing up in the woods. So today I'm going to be testing out my new super exciting ski, the Altai Hok. I'm super stoked about this. I've wanted it ever since I realized that my poor man backcountry ski setup was heavy and unreasonable. And somebody mentioned the idea of ski shoes. I looked them up, I came across these and I was going to buy some this year. And I contacted the company, and because they're awesome, they actually sent me a pair of demo skis. I guess consider that a disclosure, but I am going to be completely honest with how I feel about these, even though they sent them to me for free. Like I said, they're sometimes called a ski shoe. You'll notice that it's short. It's 125 centimeters, so you can get them in 145 centimeters. It's also fairly wide. You can get them with 3-pin bindings and wear them with telemark boots, but I've gotten them with these universal bindings, so I can wear them with my hiking boots or my snow boots. So they have some freedom in the heel, but not so much that they're flopping around. I find them really easy to adjust and put on. They also have metal edges, unlike my cross-country ski here, which allows me to turn and stop more easily. And the real winning point is this built-in skin on the underside. So for those of you not familiar with skin, the grain is going in this direction so that it makes it easy to glide one way but not the other way. On a regular backcountry ski setup, these would be removable. It's a pain in the butt to take them on and off, especially if you're at the top of a mountain where it's really cold, but it's only covering part of the ski. It's also quite light. Hold on. It's 1.54 kilograms per ski. That compares to 2.23 kilograms for this downhill ski, and that doesn't include the boots. A proper backcountry ski would be a little bit lighter, but judging by Clay's backcountry ski over here, it won't actually be that much lighter. So I'm going to be taking these up to Cornice Ridge in the Kootenays. It's been snowing for like the last week straight, so there'll be a lot of powder, a lot of steep sections. It's definitely going to be a challenge for these. I've taken them around the yard and around the nature reserve, and they were fantastic. They were so light. Breaking trail is super easy with them, and that wasn't even going downhill. Because of course, the benefit of skis is that they go downhill. So they definitely didn't have as much grip as Clay skis, but after a while I learned how to step in such a way that I was pretty good, and I was definitely using a lot less energy than Clay at the mellower part at the beginning of the hike. In fact, the shorter skis were a lot easier to maneuver around the switchbacks. The final push was pretty steep, and I struggled. If there had been any more slopes like that, I probably would have let Clay go ahead to the summit while I waited. It was cold at the top, and I was pretty happy not to have to be fiddling with skins. Okay, so let's talk downhill. I didn't film any of it, except this.
Oh, that was pretty gnarly.
Which was actually the beginning of the trip. So the first part of the descent was very powdery and very steep. In the powder, the skin really causes them to slow down, so it's hard to get enough speed up to keep any flotation and therefore make any turns. So I found that to be quite a challenge. I'm not a very good skier, especially not in powder, and I'm kind of a chicken. It wasn't pretty or graceful. However, as I got used to them, I realized that all I needed to do was aim them downhill, and they'd go at a moderate pace until it leveled out, and then they'd stop, and then I'd fall over. So there's definitely going to be a learning curve on operating these downhill, but I would definitely hesitate to take these on anything steeper than Cornice Ridge. They're quite fast on the packed trail. In fact, I would say too fast for the switchbacks because there's no way to control them within that narrow track. However, for the last third of the descent, it was more rolling downhill, and it was really fun. I just went on the packed trail and just went la 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 all the way down. Because they're so short, there was quite a bit of wobble in them, and I also found that the edges didn't catch quite as well as a downhill ski. So now it's time for my inconclusive conclusion. Inconclusive because I need to practice more with these. But overall, I'm very happy with them. They're going to be replacing my snowshoes in most of my trips, except for the most steep. You can't really beat this nice crampon-y goodness for steep stuff. But these just take so much less energy to go up and, of course, to go down, as long as it's not too steep. On Cornice Ridge, I would probably take these again. I did spend a lot of time picking myself out of the powder, but once I got onto the more mellow stuff, they were pretty fun. Plus, when they're short, it's a lot easier to dig yourself out of a powdery fall. Of course, these don't have the amount of glide as any of these. I'm never going to be going really fast or anything. But you know what? For me, that's probably okay. I'm not that good of a skier. Okay, so now it's time for the channel of the week. This week, I'd like to send out a shout out to Bushcraft North of 60. Aaron and Barbara are based in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, and I actually found them while I was doing research for the Altai Hoks. And so if you want to watch them and their subarctic adventures, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe to me, you can click here. If you want to watch another one of my videos, up here. And if you want to check out some of my t-shirts on Spreadshirt, click here. Okay, so that's it, and I'll see you next week-ish. Whoa.